Welcome back to another video. In this video we are working on the extension, but before we can get started and doing anything here, we actually have to build one thing that we decided instead of buying, we decided to build it. This is what we wanted to buy and this is what I made. So this is going to be a budget build. We're only going to use a cheap angle grinder. We're going to use a basic cheap drill with a basic drill press, a really cheap welder, $100 welder. So it's not going to be an expensive one. It's pretty beginners friendly. We're going to be using a bandsaw, which we have. We're not going to be using any complicated tools. So it's going to be a really easy, simple one. It's not going to be very precise, but it's going to do the job perfectly fine. So now we're going to show you how we made it, and at the end we're going to see if it was worth making or if it was better just to buy it. Sideways. How did that happen? So we have finished cutting all of the plates, so now we just kind of have to weld it like this, like a U shape. And I'm gonna use this one as the in-between because that's perfectly the size of the wood is gonna be. So we know exactly how wide to do it. And yeah, we're just gonna weld it together, and then the next part is gonna be the rebar. So let's get all of these welded, and then we're gonna get the rebar cut and weld the rebar on the bottom, and then they're pretty much ready to go, except paint. It has to be painted. So we're gonna paint this part. The rebar not gonna be painted because rebar is gonna go sealed in the concrete. Doesn't matter. But this ones are gonna be outside exposed, so we're just gonna give them a nice paint layer on them. So let's get started and weld. So we have a few hours later after we have finished them, and they have nicely cooled down, so we can paint them now. They are very shiny. I've made them very nice. I cleaned them up really well. I'm putting quite a lot of effort because I want them to look nice. They are not looking all perfect, but they all have perfect gap and the holes all match. That's what's important. I didn't have my bandsaw to cut them on. The belt saw is broken and it doesn't cut anymore, so I couldn't cut nice and straight lines. That's why I had to use an angle grinder, which doesn't produce the nicest, cleanest cuts and not the straightest lines. Even though I marked them all with the angle, I still got pretty bad lines, and but it doesn't really bother the process, and they'll be perfectly fine. They'll fit the wood in, they'll be in the concrete, they'll be fine. I was thinking to add more edges here, but that's exactly how they sell them, so we're kind of trying to keep to that style, and I'm pretty sure this will hook in more than enough to hold. Downwards pressure, no problem. Upwards, you cannot pull this out with any force realistically unless you break the concrete in half. So let's primer it. This is a etching primer, so goes straight on rust, straight on raw metal. And we're not gonna paint the bottom stick since that goes in concrete. We're gonna paint it like just a bitty, so I can hold it from here and paint the rest. And hopefully one can of this does all of them, and then we're gonna paint them red. So kind of the paint that I have here laying around. So we could paint them any other color, but this is kind of what I have. So we're working with what we have. So let's get started and paint all of them. Colors enough now?
Definitely.
How nice that looks. If it doesn't. So one day of work later and they are all done. We have made 8 of these and I think they came out pretty good. So now let's talk about how much they exactly costed. Was it worth it to make it ourselves? The cost of the metal, this flat metal that we used on top, we paid 10 euros for 2 meters of metal, so 5 euros a meter, so we used exactly 2 meters. The primer was 2 and the paint was 2, so that adds up to 4. We didn't use all the can, that's why I'm counting it a bit less. It's 3 euros a can, but we only used the bitty, we didn't use the whole can, maybe half of it, so that's why I'm counting only 2 euros per can, so that's 14 in total. And then the disc to cut the metal was €1.50, and we didn't use the whole disc, it's still pretty much half of it left. So that's €1, and then the last thing, maybe electricity. A lot of it does come from our solar panels, but currently here we have only on the grid, so maybe €1 of electricity usage. It wasn't a lot, it takes me not much time to weld and cut, so we didn't even spend maybe 1 hour using the tools, so that'll be max €1. So in total it's €2 per one of these, so I think that's a pretty good deal, and the strength that we get out of these is quite good, and I know I built these, so it should be all good. So I hope they're gonna last. I'm not sure about the paint, how long it's gonna last on there, how good of a quality it is, but we will see that with years to come. But the metal size is a lot bigger than what they provide, so hopefully that's gonna be additional support strength that we need. So was it worth it at the end? It was cost-wise, it was worth it, of course. We did save some money. Time-wise, maybe I could have just bought them and be done with it, and strength-wise, I think we're gonna be fine with ours, and probably the ones from store would have been fine as well. But I have used the brackets they have, and you can pretty much bend them with your hands. You're not gonna be bending these with your hands, so in that sense they are a lot better. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. In the next video we are gonna be preparing and putting these into the cement. So these are gonna go right into the cement, and they're gonna be supporting all this extension that we're gonna be doing. So hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.